got really quiet. We were just testing and everything. I know, why? You just shut the music down. I know we were just We can start. No, everybody's getting settled. Cool. I'm not actually going to use the mic right this second, but we will use the mic. So my name is Malcolm, and I'm an organizer with Springfield NoOneLeaves, and I want to welcome you all here and just start by thanking Hampshire College, and in particular the Hampshire Anarchist Network and Community Partnerships for Social Change for hosting all of us here tonight. And I also want to thank all of our members from Springfield NoOneLeaves and our organizers who made the trip up from Springfield to be here tonight and to have this opportunity to share some of what's been happening in Springfield and nationally in the housing justice movement. And really looking forward to this discussion tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to Dylan and I believe Analua. Oh, I'm sorry, and Emily, my bad. To share a little bit about Hampshire Anarchist Network and CPSC.
Cool, yeah, thanks everyone so much for coming. Just again, another shout out to Hampshire Anarchist Network and CPSC for helping organize this. What CPSC does is to attempt to build lasting and permanent partnerships with community organizations like Springfield NoOneLeaves. So that's how I've become involved with them, is through CPSC. There's actually an internship that they have this semester to help out with the stuff that NoOneLeaves does. So if you're interested, there's you can take a look at the table.
And the other organization that's sponsored this is the Hampshire Anarchist Network. So the Hampshire Anarchist Network is a pretty loose organization. We meet about weekly, and it's a great place to network for ideas, meeting people. We really want to build alliances with other groups on campus, and we bring speakers and have done concerts in the past, and general educational stuff in order to make our own campus as anti-oppressive a space as possible. And we'll also have a sign-up sheet in the back. And please, we're a group where we want you to bring your ideas to us as well for events.
Yeah, so thank you all so much for coming.
Great. Oh wow, it got really loud all of a sudden. So in just a minute, we're going to head into a panel discussion, and I'm going to be helping to moderate that, and some video and some photos. And we really want to treat this as a reflection and a discussion, and then we're going to open it up in the last part for some question and answer and some back and forth discussion. So I'm going to turn it over to Roberto, who's going to give some background on Springfield NoOneLeaves. You want this?
I guess.
A little.
I feel really behind. Great. So my name is Roberto. I'm a community organizer with Springfield NoOneLeaves. And just for those who don't know, Springfield NoOneLeaves has been around since 2010. But the issue that we initially started working really didn't become kind of a massive issue until 2007, a little bit before the economic crisis in the United States. And it was mostly because a lot of predatory loans and subprime lending practices that the banks had constructed were becoming defaulted. And in Springfield, there wasn't really a mechanism to defend ourselves from it, and in a lot of parts of the country there wasn't. But in Boston, Massachusetts, and other parts of the country, people were really starting to defend themselves from massive eviction happening from this sort of displacement. And one of the groups was City Life Vida Urbana. And they came up with an organizing model that had some sort of legal defense, but mostly direct action that directly confronted the banks by having people stay in their home. And so a couple years forward, a coalition of community members and organizations come together, and they're pretty fed up with seeing mass displacement happening in the city of Springfield. In 2010, there was over 500 foreclosures, and a lot of people just undefensively were evicted. And so this coalition starts organizing, and they hire an organizer, and they really start building a base of people. And one of the main focuses of the first organizing was really to recruit people who are directly impacted. And so who are people directly impacted? Poor people, people of color, women of color, and single women.
And gays.
And queer, and gay. And so that definitely becomes our base, and that's been our base. And so today, there's over 300 Springfield NoOneLeaves members who are actively or have fought for their home in one way or another. And if we could just go back to the mission and vision. So I think one of the things that I want to focus on is that the way we organize is through direct action campaigns and building solidarity, leadership, and leadership through intentional leadership development. And so how does that happen? So we have Bangtan Association meetings. And at these Bangtan Association meetings, which people will talk about, and I won't get into a lot of detail, is kind of like our home. And once a week we meet and at 5:45 at the same location for the past 2 years, which is Trinity Church. And at that location we organize, we share, we build, we tell our stories, and if need to, plan eviction blockades. And also people get legal support from volunteer attorneys. But that's our base, that's our home. And if someone had a baby, we're gonna share that. If there's a death in the family, that's where we share. If someone has a victory, if someone has an auction, whatever it is, that's where we share, and that's where we really build. And so that's kind of that central place. And overall, we've been an organization that's really moved towards becoming member-led, meaning that decision-making, organizational structure, organizing is all led by our members. And eventually, we hope to be completely member-led. And we could talk more about what that means. But that's just kind of a little bit of background of Springfield NoOneLeaves. And we're a radical organizing group, meaning that we not only are here just to defend people's homes, but we're really here to study, think through, what are the core issues that are affecting our communities. And just to finish off, I won't read through our vision, but a lot of this thinking and a lot of this working and a lot of this reflecting with each other for the past 4 years has really brought us to this vision. And if you look at the vision, it's not just a housing justice vision, but it's really a more complex vision where we incorporate education, we incorporate healthcare, we incorporate being able to move wherever we want without being persecuted or without, so there's a lot of things that we've kind of really processed through that we envision a world where it's not just about housing and just not having a roof, but I think we really want to change the social conditions that originally brought us to organize. And so with that, I think I'll keep it at that, and I'll pass it on to actually Jeff, and then sue. And so we use a very particular organizing model, and the organizing model is what we call the sword and the shield.
Dreams.
Too bad
I couldn't really use it on. I can solve some real problems. The sword here is our legal action. It's where we go to the courts.
No.
Sword.
You want the shield here?
Oh, I got the shield, okay.
You get the shield, I'll get the sword.
It's probably safer if I
Oh, it's the shield, that's right.
I'll hold it up for you so it's not
But anyway, the shield is what we use when we go to court. We get, as I say, the lawyers that come out, they help us, and they give us information. Some of the lawyers we got, I mean, they're so great that the motions that they file for us, some the judge and the other side. So, I mean, it's a real help that they have this, and without it, it wouldn't educate you as to where you stand for your legal rights. And this is what the courts in other places want you to believe, that you don't have rights, but you do. It's a very devastating thing when the courts, if you walk in there and they say, well, because you're ignorant to the law, that we can't do nothing for you and push you to the side. But because of organizing things that happen in our organization with the lawyers that allow you to take and learn about what right is yours, what things you can do, what you can't do, you know, what you got to expect. It all helps out fine, you know, and it's a beautiful thing when it comes to knowing that you got rights that are going to help you. Believe me, I needed them, and I needed them bad. So we're going to use sword?
Yeah.
Before Stu goes, I've seen Jeff defend himself without an attorney in front of a judge. So it's not just the judges, it's people defending themselves.
All right, this is the sword. And if you look up at the picture, and if you go back one, or this one, that's what the sword is. It's all of us standing up when your legal rights have run out, or even before that, when the first auction comes up for your home. We do an auction protest. We go out en masse and we try to get we try to get the bank to buy the home, because that's the best process. Since you, at this point, have not been able to buy your home back, the bank is going to auction it off. Our best scenario is to get the bank to buy it back. Gives us more legal rights. But then suppose that doesn't work and you have another action. We've had vigils, we've had eviction blockades. Some are successful, some are not, but we're there. We're there to push the people that we know, to be with our family, to let them know they're not alone no matter what the result is. We will be there for them, and that's what the sword is. It's the human beings involved in all of this saying we are really a weapon. There are so many of us that you can't just stand there. You have to do something. And we get attention that way. We get media attention. We get police attention. We get some attention we don't want. But mostly we do a good job. And that's what the sword represents. It represents our defending our homes. We defend everyone's home as if it's our own home. Because it is at that moment. It's all of us standing up for all of our members. So, and that's the sword, the shield, and that's what we do.
So we're going to head into some panel questions. And we're going to do this in a couple ways. There's going to be some questions for everyone, and then there's going to be some specific questions for different folks. And there's some wonderful, great slideshow to kind of accompany that. So our first question, since not everybody here has met the panelists, is to ask everyone on the panel to introduce what's your name, and when did you join Springfield NoOneLeaves, and why is it powerful to you?
My name is Flora Santana, and I joined this group like a year ago. I paid a bunch of lawyers, and still I was almost in the street with a handicapped brother. Seeing this video in the news one day, I'm like, hey, this is my last hope. I called them up, and a year later, I'm still here, still fighting, And that is the best thing that ever happened to me. I don't need a microphone. I got a big mouth. You guys hear me clearly? I don't really need a mic. But that's why I'm in this program and I'll never let it stop coming over here. I got my house back. I just said ahead of time I have to tell you guys, okay? We do need a lot of support. And you young guys, I'm very honored to be here. Thank you for accepting Flora Santana. Give it to my brother Jeffery.
So before you go on, we're going to model some of what we do in our bank tenant in our home, which is Flora, even though you've already won your house back, are you ready to stand and fight for your home?
I'm ready to stand and fight for anybody, so I got mine, so I'm going to keep fighting for my home.
Cool.
For
And
anybody.
so we respond as a group.
And we will stand and fight for you.
So we encourage y'all to join in as we ask that question going down the line. Jeff?
I'm Brother Jeff. I joined them in 2010 when I faced the loss of my job and everything, and unemployment, and I didn't have enough income to pay a mortgage. So they decided to sell the home and put me in the street. Thanks to Springfield NoOneLeaves, I mean, it was like 4 degrees below zero in January. And they were at my house at 6 o'clock in the morning, doing a blockade to prevent them from coming to put me out in the street. And this, what this means to me, this organization means to me family. I mean, real family. I don't even know you guys, but you're here. But if you needed my help, I'm there for you. That's the way this organization is.
We'll all be there for you.
They come to me, Jeffrey, are you mentally okay? Are you physically okay? Because they know that, you know, I've had heart trouble and stuff like that, and it takes a toll. This is a situation that takes devastation tolls on your life. You know, just to know that if you've never been homeless, and you are facing to be homeless, you don't know what to do. I mean, things ran through my mind, you're taking the life, going, doing this thing. They came to me like, oh, no, that's not the way out. That's not the way out. We're going to be with you. And they were there with me. And I tell you something, it's a great organization. I tell you, if you really want to know what love is, come to this organization and work. Believe me.
Hi everybody, my name is Kalimah Dunwell, and I became a part of Springfield NoOneLeaves in 2011 after my home was foreclosed in 2010 and my father had joined the movement. And Springfield NoOneLeaves is so powerful because it's all about establishing people power and really like self-empowerment and community power and unification. And I feel like that's something that Springfield and of course other cities throughout the nation are definitely in need of. And that's why I love it so much.
Hi, my name is Linda Wise. How y'all doing? Okay, I came into this organization about a year ago when I was living in this house as a tenant. Had no idea that the house was being foreclosed on because my landlord didn't even let me know what was happening. And when I heard that knock on the door, because we do canvassing too on Saturdays, and we go out and we, you know, talk to people, let them know that there's an organization that can help you. And since then, I've been to this organization, and everything, I felt uplifted because I had no clue what was happening, and then I needed to know more. What am I going to do? Because I had a house before, and I was, you know, being foreclosed on, and then now we're gonna have to go through all of this again. So I was really devastated, and because we all work together, I'm still in the house right now.
Before we go to school, we want to ask Jeff, are you ready to stand and fight for your home?
Yes, I am.
And we will stand and fight with you.
That's it.
And we're going to ask Kalimah, are you ready to stand and fight for your home?
Definitely.
And
We will stand and fight with you.
Thank you.
And Linda, are you ready to stand and fight for your home?
Sure. And we will stand and fight with you.
My name is Sue, and I joined the organization about 3.5 years ago. I learned about it through my friend who's from Sept. But I had already been foreclosed, and we got this notice on the door, and my daughter was hysterical, and we went to court, and this young lawyer was telling us, oh, you have to leave. He was a really, really rude young man. And we had an athlete who was working with us, a volunteer from Holyoke, who was standing beside me. She came up and she told me, don't listen to me. don't listen. Her name is Marcella, and I will love her forever because without her, we would have been out of our home immediately. Instead, after 3.5 years, we're still there, we're still fighting. It's so powerful to know that this organization has helped us through a tremendous, my daughter's had some health problems that I can't even go into, and she's just not, emotionally, she can't move. She'll have a breakdown totally. So without them, I don't know what would happen to my family. They were so powerful. And I can still feel her bumping me and say, don't listen, don't listen. Every time I get to a boy riding flight, this little thing goes off in my head that Marcella said, don't listen to him. So, until the lawyers here tell me I have to listen, I'm going to follow that advice.
And Sue, are you ready to stand and fight for your home?
Oh, yes.
And we will stand and fight with you.
I'm not going to stand because I'm getting over a sinus infection, so that's why I'm not standing. But my name is Rose. My name is Rose Webster-Smith. I've been with the organization since October of 2011. I've been fighting Freddie Mac now. Next month will be 3 years. That's another thing we do when we name the bank that we're fighting. We all boo them. How I find it powerful is I found my voice through this group. Because I was so used to being said, oh, you're being foreclosed on, so there's this embarrassment that you get, the stigma of, oh no, I can't tell anybody, and why are these people knocking on my door to tell me something I already know? So it helped me find my voice, and hopefully through this, as you can see, my children are here, so my children participate in the actions, and we have a youth section, so that's why it's powerful for me. And yes, Malcolm, I'm going to stay and fight for my home.
And we will stand and fight with you.
Wonderful. I want to thank all of you. And so we're going to shift into one of the recent fights. And I just want to name that our brother Alex Richardson, who had planned to be here, had some last-minute changes and was unable to be here tonight. But we are going to take a little time to watch a video from a recent eviction blockade. And we'll hear some reflections from folks who were there. And then we'll be talking about some other eviction fights and campaigns that we're working on.
Well, you're down and you're good.
Let's say August 22nd.
It will say, good morning. I want to thank you from the deepest sincerity of my heart. It was my intention not to leave. They would have to forcibly evict me. Because, as was proved in court yesterday, I own the property. I own the house. Okay? It's a travesty that the bank can bully us and push us around. The city will not back up and will not enforce its own ordinances, its own laws. The judges and the lawyers don't even respect and follow the laws and the ordinances that are put down by the city council.
They want to evict first and then somebody's willing to help them buy this house back so that they can get their funds back that they want. Why can't they wait? Why do they have to have them to be homeless? Send that truck back! Send that truck back! We shall not be moved by the stream that's landed by the water. We shall not be moved. That was not interrupted. We ask that you leave the property. Wells Fargo, you can hide. We can see your greedy side. Wells Fargo, you can hide. We can see your greedy side.
I'm proud to be here. My name is Malcolm. I'm proud to be here with Jeff and Vanessa and Frank and Mason and Dylan and Jeffery who are in the back. And all of you that are sitting in. And I'm willing to risk arrest today because I see so many neighbors out here who I talked to this morning in past weeks and past years who are fed up with all these vacant houses because I know Alex to be hardworking, to be an incredibly peaceful, beautiful, friendly brother that has opened his arms to all of us to build this struggle here today. And really what outrages me most here today is the fact that Wells Fargo has said that they are willing to negotiate, but only if they evict Alex first. And for the police that are here today, and the sheriff, and the mayor who's not here today because he didn't want to come, even though he asked. I want you to just think about the fact that Wells Fargo is wasting all of our money to throw out all of our money for the press that are here, that are over there. Understand that Wells Fargo, they say they want to negotiate, but every single person here is having their money wasted, the city's resources wasted, to throw out, to kick out somebody who's been a civil servant for more than 25 years, who was a firefighter for 18 years, who's lived here for 32 years. Took hundreds of billions of dollars of our money, and now they just want to punish people and use our money when they don't have to.
Please, the motto is to protect and serve. How is it protecting your community? To put a man out onto the street with taxpayer dollars who is teaching in this community, who has protected and educated this community for decades. That's not protecting your community. I want to say thank you to everybody who showed up here today to support Alex Garcia-Ceballos. I'm here because there's no reason for this to happen. It doesn't make any sense. On this half street, there are 5 empty houses. There are 5 empty houses that are owned by the bank. What sense does that make? I don't know what I've been told. I don't know what I've been told. Wells Fargo's been stealing homes. Wells Fargo's been stealing homes. And we're here to get a proof. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved.
I think that you set up, man, a future in a firefighter like you guys that can teach us out of his house. He's sharing on you. He's sharing on you.
Let's up the handouts on the wrong people today. That's right. This is the 6th vacant home on the street. The 3rd bank owned. The banks don't know what they're doing with these houses, but the people know.
So we want to acknowledge that this is not an easy video to watch, and that it was one of the most intense spaces that we've had collectively as a movement. But we also think that it's one of the reasons why we're here, and it's one of the reasons why we're growing and we're looking to expand. And so I want to open it up to folks who were there that day, who were on the panel, to share what that experience was like. This was the first time that our movement had an eviction carried out, at an eviction blockade. So I wanted to open it up.
I found it really hard because knowing I found it was really hard because knowing Alex and the kind of person he is, and the way he treats people, and you know he's a good teacher, we know he's put his life on the line to save other people, and some of the people there were much more emotional even than I was. Some of the people on this panel, outstanding actions, what they said were so true. But the one gentleman, just before the end of the video, he was actually in tears. And he just knows Alex from our organization, but he felt so connected to him that, oh, I had to go over and make sure he was okay. He was in better shape. Alex was in better shape. He couldn't, he said, I can't watch this, I can't. It just hurt him so much, and it hurt all of us to see Alex thrown out. But at the same time, we knew we were there for him, we knew we were standing up for him, and that empowered us in ways that the civil servants who had to be involved in this couldn't understand. When the man said, oh, one of the policemen said, oh, they might damage the van. And I looked at him and I said, why would we damage the van with our friends inside? You know, one of us is having a problem here and it's not me. So, but we have never been violent. We have been aggressive. We've been right in their faces. We've never touched one of them. We've never done any damage to anyone's property. And for that man to say that, oh, and it was the day after the 10th murder in Springfield. And here they were, they had 7 or 8 or 9 policemen, I lost count, to take care of a crowd that 3 could have handled. And they weren't out looking for a murderer. They were doing the easy arrests. They were taking these people, including a 75-year-old man, off the porch and arresting them. I thought there was a lot better use of Springfield's funds than what they did to Alex.
Or Flora, I know you were both there that morning. Would you want to share?
So for me, being the MC, my role was really to just communicate with the crowd as to like what was going on and let everybody know when we got our warning and to keep in touch with Roberto. But I really could not stay focused on my task. I was really getting very like emotional during the whole thing. Alex is like, I've only known him for such a short period of time, we all have, but he has become such an important member of this family, and seeing like the bank kick out my family member who has done so much for his community, and then seeing them arrest my brothers and sisters who are trying to stand up and do the right thing, I was just so disgusted by the evil and the injustice that we were facing. It was heartbreaking.
It was the hardest thing I ever seen in my life, to see somebody that worked so hard, 28 years as a fireman, teacher. I was saying, look, if he's out, I thought I was going to be in the street the day before he was. Because I only been here like 15 years. I said, if they're going to throw him out, hey, forget about this Puerto Rican that just came off the boat. And I said, what I'm going to do with my handicapped brother, I was going to put him in a trailer and, you know, drag him around with me. But thanks to this program, we still there. And I know us sticking together with some help, some backup, some young people like you too. You know, go out and speak, talk, and just let them know what you heard here. Just spread the news to your Twitter, to your, I learned a lot about the Twitter. I'm up to date now, I'm updated. I even updated my phone, because I know how to text now since I'm here. Here's my email, that's my email. It was kind of hard to see him, and still kind of hard. Every time I look at him that I got mine, and he don't have his, it hurts me. It hurts me in my heart. I wish I could share my house with them. It really hurts to see him out in the street. And I got mine, so you know, I wish I could, we both would have ours. It's kind of very, very difficult to see.
Yeah. So there was, and we heard this a lot in the days after this eviction, that there was a lot of anger, there was a lot of frustration, there was a lot of confusion, there was a lot of sadness. There was also a lot of defiance, right? And I was wondering if maybe 1 or 2 folks on the panel could just talk about what's our response? What has been our response? What does this call us to do as a movement?
Get stronger, stand up, fight. We even want to move him back in his home. Move him back in his home. You know, we're not going to give it up. Right. We're going to keep coming back more and more and more. The more you do to us, the more we're going to come back to do to you. We're going to fight.
So stick together, because right now it's like 300, it could be 500, and people like you that always texting.
So we'll get into the texting and the support in a little bit. Is there anyone else who would like to comment on that question of kind of what's been the response? What needs to be the response? How do we understand that even in the face of an eviction, our movement can get stronger?
Well, we're still there for Alex. He knows that. Several people have tried to help him with certain situations that he had because he was evicted, like having to put his dog in the pound. It makes me cry when I think of it. We haven't been able to get the dog out. We need to find someone who can take the dog until Alex can find a permanent place for her. I'm sorry, her name is Coco. Chocolate. He said Coco first, and that's what confused me. But he must have had a dog named Coco years ago, but now he has Chocolate. But we're still there for him, and he still comes, and we still ask what's happening, how is he progressing, what's going on. And we haven't stopped fighting for other people. It just makes us more determined to make sure that the laws are changed so that people can't be evicted for no fault. There's no reason for Alex to be on the street when there's 4 other homes in that neighborhood empty. No one has done anything to restore them, to rent them, or to sell them. And that's probably what's going to happen to Alex's house. And we find that really unconscionable, and we really need to work harder to move people in your age and my age and everybody in between to understand that this is not a problem because Alex was a bad man. Alex didn't quit his job. Alex got sick once, and that didn't help this. He got hurt, and that didn't help the situation. But anyone can get sick. Anyone can get hurt. Does that mean we're evil and we should lose our homes? Shouldn't there be something that someone could do for us that we have, like forgive a couple of months' payments and put them on the end? We all ask for this kind of stuff. Look, can you put it on the end? No, they can't do it. So what it makes us is more aware that we need to work harder to get laws changed, which, by the way, we did in Springfield, but the mayor won't enforce them. And we need to focus on the fact that more and more people need to know that people like Alex, if you look at this man, he's not an evil person, but if you talk to government agencies, they say things like, we're going to help the people who've tried to keep their homes, and well, we all tried to keep our homes. We didn't mean to lose our jobs. We didn't mean to have heart attacks. We didn't mean to lose a spouse. I mean, this is, oh yes, we deliberately went out and did these things so that we would be in this position. And that's just the attitude of people we consider in a different economic class who think that, yeah, if we do it for you, we have to do it for everybody. Everybody didn't lose their jobs or their health, but they have a point. They're the ones who made the predatory loans. And yes, if they did it for us, they should do it for all the predatory loans they did. And that is something that we need to work on getting rules and laws, things changed. So we need to have proposals brought forth. We need to talk to people who are running for elections and find out where they stand in these positions. We don't endorse any candidates, but we certainly do look into what they stand for.
So I want to ask the panel to give a little context to this tactic of eviction blockades, and ask one person or 2 people to just share, why do we use eviction blockades? Why are they strategic? Why are they part of how we organize?
Stop other people.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
Okay. So we use eviction blockades to really show our resilience and our power up against these banks, and to show that we as a community are able to come together and defend one person's home. And we're able to, we got a 48-hour notice the second time around, and we were able to gather that many people. That shows people power, and that shows unity, and it shows righteousness within the community, and that's why we use eviction blockades.
Very
Roberto?
Yes, as my sister Kalimah just explained, that it shows that we are united and we're willing to fight for each of us homes. And to think that the banks, they themselves got bailed out with our money, right? Our money bailed them out, and they, instead of helping us, they're kicking us out, So we gotta show them, you got bailed out, and now you wanna kick us out of our homes. That's something not right about that. So we need to stand up, and we really need to fight and show them that if it's good for you, it's also good for us. And we need to make it clear that we are gonna fight to the end. And it can't be because you have more money, you think you're better than us, and we don't have any say. Yes, we have our rights, and we're gonna fight for it.
I think the last thing I would just add is that in eviction blockade, it's also something very strategic. And whenever we decide, and just to let you know, the community decides. We have a group of people who are kind of our executive go-to people that really evaluate whether an eviction blockade is not only going to defend someone from being evicted, but is it really going to transform the community? Is it win or lose? Are more people going to join the movement from an eviction blockade? Are more people for the next eviction blockade going to be ready to risk more arrests? Are more people going to be able to understand our demands and why displacement is such a horrible issue in our community? And if those things aren't going to happen, then it's not worthwhile risking doing an eviction blockade. So I think that's something that we really think through, and we really make sure that it's not just defending an individual from being evicted, but it's really creating a resistance in a city that definitely needs it, and it needs to grow. So that's another reason why we organize eviction blockades.
So I want to shift our attention back to our sister Kalimah. And as you saw, Kalimah was an MC. Kalimah was also a youth organizing intern over the summer, but she was an MC and doing some other stuff there. That was in Providence. But Kalimah, you've been, as you mentioned earlier, you've been in this movement for over 3 years. And when you joined, you're 13. And I remember the first time, was you speaking at a vigil in front of your house. And if you could share a little kind of how you evolved and how you've grown in the movement, and then why do you see, or what's important for young people to play a role in this housing justice movement?
So joining the movement at such a young age, it was really mind-blowing, and it was really empowering. And I wasn't aware of my own power, and I also wasn't aware of the place that a teenager could have in these types of movements. And I didn't realize that I could also be a representative of an age group that's often overlooked when it comes to these type of issues. And throughout the years, I've gained more confidence with being a part of SNOL. I've developed my leadership skills, and I feel that my eyes were closed before I joined Springfield NoOneLeaves. And I now see all the injustice that's going on globally, and I'm now more aware of issues that might not be directly affecting me, but are impacting all of our people and other people throughout the world. And it's given me community awareness. And I think that it's important for the youth to have a voice. And banks don't take into account the kind of damage that foreclosures and evictions do to families. And they don't consider the children that are going to get kicked out of the street, the children that are going to be isolated at school, the children that can no longer participate in their extracurricular activities because their parents are so financially distressed. And parents often want to shield their kids from these types of issues. And they don't think that the kids will be aware of what they're going through, but often the kids are curious and they're afraid seeing noticing the changes that are going on in their homes. And we have to start encouraging our youth to bring about change in order to break the cycle of injustice. And the youth, we are the future, and making leaders starts at home.
Yay.
So I'm going to turn over to Flora now, and we're going to shift to different folks on the panel. And Flora mentioned earlier that she got her house back.
Yes, I got my house back, but I lost my job and I was still paying my mortgage. They were switching me from one bank to another bank, to another bank, to another bank. That's how my money got lost. They never mentioned that, and they just tried to take my house. I still was paying my rent. My money never, nobody had my money. Paid 2 lawyers. One got $5,000, the other one got $7,000. Still to today, I don't know whatever happened to my money because they were switching it from one bank to another bank, 10 different banks. And then they want to throw me out. But I got my receipts. I didn't pay them completely, $2,000. I couldn't pay them. I didn't have a job, but I was paying them $1,200. Still, where's my money at? Oh, they want to put me in the street and sell it to somebody else. They got 4 houses, they got 5 houses on my block. They sold a house for $1 to somebody else from I don't know where. Why they can't sell me my house back or sell Jeff's house back? And right now, we fighting it. I'm still kind of scared. It's been like the first month I pay my rent without no problem. I'm still scared. I'm still waking up tomorrow. They're gonna break in my door. They're gonna throw me out in the street because I had a plan with Fannie Mae. Me and Fannie Mae did a deal. They gave 6 months. I paid the rent 6 months. Boom! They took my house. They tried to evict me again. And now I don't know if tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna be back here and say, "Hey guys, I lost my house." I hope not. But I don't think with this movement now, I don't think they could ever get it back.
And so Flora, your house was foreclosed on last year, and we had an auction protest out front. And but as last month you went to Boston.
I went to Boston.
You signed a new mortgage.
Yes,
so
and
can you kind of describe what happened to get you there?
Oh, I went to the program because I was losing my house. I called them, and we tried with different banks, and all of a sudden this bank called me up. We went through heck. They put me through heck all the time. Every time, hey, you got 1 more minute to send this paper. You got 2 days to send this. You got 15 kind of different inspections. They inspect every part of my house. I had to pay like $700 for fraud. The smoke detectors ended up with the wrong one. I had to buy some other one, another $700. So they said if I didn't sign my paper, if I didn't do my paperwork in time, I was going to lose my house. Every little minute, I'm going to lose my house. But I'm still there, and I'm not going nowhere. From there, I'm going to the cemetery. Because I'm not gonna have no money to get buried. So whatever the city wanna do, go ahead and do it.
And Flora in particular is one of, we've had 28 families in the last 4 years that have been able to negotiate repurchasing agreements or rent agreements. And we work with a nonprofit bank in Boston called Boston Community Capital that helps to finance repurchases. But it only happens when we demand it, right? So they finance it, but banks don't have to agree to it, right? So it only happens when we push for it and when we fight for it, and we make it clear that if they don't negotiate,
they're gonna have to kill me in my house. I'm only kidding. But they gave me the principal reduction. They gave me a principal reduction because my house was $215,000. When I went to the program, they found out that my house wasn't worth that. And they gave me the principal reduction. So I said that they give me back my money after all the fighting my brothers and sisters here did.
So how much is your mortgage now?
Now it's $700. I can pay that
myself. The total mortgage?
77,000.
Cool. So 215 to 70.
I owe them 70,000 right now. Hallelujah. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know what's gonna happen. So guys, get ready. I might be in trouble today. I need a shelter for my handicapped brother.
No, be positive.
I know I'm positive. I got my program and my brothers and sisters behind me. I'm very positive. And I want you guys to please join in. Please tell your sister, tell your cousins in Africa, anywhere, in Europe, everywhere. Just one person you do, one person you do. We all have something going on, right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you.
So we're gonna turn it to Rose, and our organizing model, Rose, right, shifts, it connects individual fights to a national movement and to a collective fight. And so Rose, if you could talk a little bit about how we tie into larger campaigns. You've helped organize larger campaigns, so if you could share some of that.
Okay, how we do is, what we do is we take the individual fight, like, of course, me, I'm fighting Freddie Mac. And what we did is we combined Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, because they're all part of the FHFA. And within our group, we took all the members and we represented ourselves. And in July of 2012, we did a rally and a march. And we marched through downtown Springfield and hung signs at every single Fannie and Freddie foreclosed home that was boarded up, trying to show the deterioration of our neighborhoods and our communities and the impact that this is having. From there, we hooked up with the Right to the City Alliance, and we went to New York City, where we were joined by Chelsea Collaborative, City Life Urbana, and from Boston, which is made up of 4 different groups, Lynn for Change, Hudson, I'm not really sure what Hudson, New York's called.
Nobody Leaves Mid-Hudson.
Yeah, Nobody Leaves Mid-Hudson. DARE, which is from Rhode Island, and Occupier Homes. Oh, no, that was in DC. We're in New York right now. So anyway, no, they didn't come. No, they went to DC, but we're not there yet. Sorry, I digress. Anyway, we get to New York City and we all met in a park, and what was the park, a half a mile from Freddie Mac, where we marched down the streets of New York, and as we approached 42nd Street, we kind of overpowered the cops and took the street, which doesn't really happen in New York City. And then we proceeded to the Freddie Mac building, and we held a protest there, and we sent a delegation in. And from there, we marched to Fannie Mae's office and held another protest out in front of there. And then when we tied it all in, 2 weeks later, we took off to Washington, D.C., where we met up from groups, of course, all the ones that I just named, and Occupy Atlanta, Occupy Our Homes Minnesota, Just Cause from Oakland, California. I mean, pretty much every part of the country was represented in this housing crisis, and we took over Washington Ave in DC and shut it down. We got to see President Obama's daughter in her school surrounded by the Secret Service, all while we were protesting in front of Fannie Mae's offices. But that's pretty much how we tie in through all of our different types of organizations.
And Rose, why is it necessary to build those national alliances to win our demands?
Because just to put it in a little, mind you, I have little kids, so Springfield is just a little ant, you know, and we need to make ourselves bigger like a transformer, obviously. So we have to connect ourselves to other organizations to make ourselves more powerful. Sorry for the answer. So, I still have young kids.
So kind of staying on that topic and turning to Roberto and Sue, who have both been involved in actions that involve civil disobedience in Washington, D.C. as part of our Freddie Mac campaign. If y'all could just talk about those actions and why Fannie and Freddie, why we targeted Fannie and Freddie.
Fannie and Freddie, because they own 60% of the loans in the nation. They bought a lot of bad loans from Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, and then they turned around. Now, each of these have been sent out in derivatives and all that, and they just said foreclose. We won't do anything. We won't help you. Even though in their bylaws it says they will, they won't. And each of them has, in most cases, refused to bargain at all with people. They try to stay at arm's length. If you do like Flora and you're lucky enough to get BCC to finance you, that's fine, but most people just can't come up with the money that the Boston community asks for up front. So that means many of the people can't make it, and many parts of the country do not have that type of bank to go to. So this wasn't just us, like she said, we had several organizations there, and each of them had representatives, and at one point in front of Fannie Mae, we had a group of people, including one of our sisters, get arrested. There were 5 women who sat in the middle of the road. The rest of us all did our different types of protests, and as the police said, you have to leave. Group by group, we moved out until these 5 women were sitting in the middle of the street, shutting the street down, and they were arrested. And for me, that was really powerful, and the woman from our group who did it will always be my hero, because that took so much courage to do that. But there was another person who got arrested later on, and I think it took a lot of courage too. So I'm going to turn this over to
him. Yeah, I think. I think what they said about the banks is really important. You know, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac do have, you know, hold a lot of loans. That means that a lot of people are directly impacted by these banks. And so it's been our kind of role in these organizations across the country to directly organize those people. And not just organize them and ask for things, but really demand things and really escalate the way we ask for, or the way we demand for things. And so this action really demonstrates, you know, those who are directly impacted by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and what people are willing to do. And so one of the things that we've had to do is be really smart about who our target's going to be. And for the longest time, it was the director of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, who was appointed by the Bush administration, who was this like very creepy old dude that like would just not listen or care about what people were experiencing, and was just kind of sitting there as a puppet for most of the banks across the country, because whatever policies Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac or the FHFA produce become kind of this template for banks to follow. And so for us, it was really important to pressure this individual because we saw that the director would really has the power to make the difference that, you know, or a difference that we're looking for, and that it's worth fighting for. So, you know, that was like, going outside of Fannie Mae and doing civil disobedience out there, but also like having these like huge parties outside this person's house, and like bringing 500 people to the door, and just, you know, asking asking, you know, asking the neighbors to support us, and you know, spreading, you know, letting his community know what he's causing across the country. And then you know, what Sue's mentioning of getting arrested is being at a conference in DC and then finding out this person's going to speak in Congress, and organizing whoever we can at the moment, showing up the next day, and just disrupting his hearing in Congress, and being willing to risk arrest. And so, you know, the people we got arrested with, I was one of them, but some of the people that got arrested were those who were being evicted, you know, who had an eviction hearing the next week from Fannie Mae, who directly spoke out and disrupted that congressional hearing. And I don't know if anybody's ever been arrested in a congressional hearing, but it's not the same as getting arrested on the street, because the stakes are a lot higher. And so, you know, these are working people who are willing to do that, to really push the demands of other folks who are being evicted. And so the use of civil disobedience is, you know, losing the fear to really, you know, make our voices heard in a way that really puts a lot of pressure and that can't be ignored. And so, that's one of the one of the reasons why we really push for the use of civil disobedience. So.
Thank you. So we're going to come over to our sister Linda. And so, full disclosure, I've learned so much about the international global system and economic system from Linda through our Leadership Academy and through making those connections. And the first question for Linda is, what's the root cause of all this? Like, what are the systems that we're fighting?
Well,
It's a nice, simple, easy question.
Well, we're actually fighting the banks. They're the root cause. They're the greedy people, and also we're fighting, their rules and their regulations, and we need to stand up because I am going to just briefly let you know where I'm coming from. Way back in Jamaica, all right? I know most of you have heard of the IMF. It's like this International Monetary Fund. They're the greedy ones, right? They dictate to the countries, islands, whatever you want to call it. Okay, we will lend you X amount of money for you to do this, that, and that. And they dictate to you how they want it to be done, and when, and within this frame period of time that they know will not be able to finish what you have to do. So they say, ha ha, look at them. And they're laughing because they see money in their pockets, because they know there's no way you're going to be able to do this, right? And then in the end, they say, oh, well, you forfeit on your loan, or you didn't accomplish this, or you didn't do that. And then what happened to these countries? You hear of the third world country, but you know who gets the money? And is it fair that people should suffer? I mean, I can say, well, my family, they will own a small farm, right? And then they're going to say, okay, you can't feed your pigs or you can't feed your animals with this kind of food because we don't like the taste or the texture. You have to use this and you have to use that. So now you have to throw away all your, your conventional methods of using stuff, and you have to go with that. Then the price for that is so much expensive, and then they tell you, oh, I'm only going to pay you this for it. So it's a lose-lose situation. There's no winning anywhere except for the greedy person. So it only ties back into the banks, the greed, and they will suck your blood and squeeze you dry. And that's what they're there for. And then they laugh, ha, 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 ha. And what happens to you? You have nervous breakdown, you have all sorts of diseases and all sorts of sicknesses, and that's what they want. I mean, how can you feel justified and go to sleep and feel good that, oh, I squeezed the last blood out of this person? And that's just evil.
It's bigger, right? There's these connections, and we could probably find all other types of connections of these people and these systems are set up to bleed us dry, right?
Yes, Africa,
to make money off of us, right?
Yes.
Whether it's good for our communities or not.
Yes.
Whether it's good for the farms that we own, good for the homes that we own,
Yeah.
good for the places that we rent or not.
Yeah.
So that's a big system to fight, right? So I want to ask kind of a follow-up question to you, which is, if we're going to fight that, why is it so important for, and this is bringing it back local, why is it so important for tenants and homeowners to have solidarity in this fight?
Well, we have to speak with each other. We have to have a conversation, and we have to realize it's not me against you. I'm not just a tenant, or you're not just the owner. There's a bigger picture right here, and we're both getting. I can't say what we're going to get. but we're both losing to the same person. So we need to in solidarity, to stand up, tenants, landlord, everybody, to fight this evil person, and realize that, oh, well, you're the landlord and you should supply me with this, that, and that. Well, I'm the tenant and I'm not going to do this, that, and that, whatever. We can't keep bickering with each other. We have to really unite and stand together and fight.
We're going to move this last part of the discussion into the most imminent fight that we have at Springfield NoOneLeaves. And that fight is with our brother Jeff against Fannie Mae. And there's a possibility of an imminent eviction and the need for an imminent eviction blockade. And so, Jeff, if you could kind of give an update of what the timeline is and what are you demanding? What's new about this fight?
Well, to give you an update on the court actions, I got to go October 3rd. They filed a motion for judgment. So I guess the judgment is to dismiss my appeal from where they wanted the last time, and to allow the banks, Fannie Mae, to take the home and put me in the street probably within a 48-hour notice after that. My demand is to make that an affordable rental, you know, so that I can take and stay there. And I'm willing to keep the property up as far as you know, paint some of the stuff on the outside. Don't keep the landscape up, you know, this will keep the value of the properties next to us up their value as well. I lost the house, well, I actually purchased the home in October 24th of 2007. And when I lost my job, 2008, I wasn't able to take and keep up with the mortgage, and I was borrowing money from here and there to take and put myself in debt like hell. Believe me. You know, the fight is that I want my house back. I'd like to keep my house, really. I worked hard for that house, you know, and I invested a lot of money into that home. I got a lot of family values in that home. I had family over, we had picnics and everything in the house, you know, and it put me into a real hardship, mentally and physically, that I can't sleep at night. You know, it cost me a divorce because my wife didn't want to take and be homeless, so she said, see you later, you know. But you know, my fight is that I want this to be affordable housing so that I can afford it. You know, and if you can't do that and you want to put me in the street, well then, we ain't giving up the fight. We're going to fight until there is no fight no more. You know, like I said, I moved in some of my family because they ended up homeless in my house. And now they're facing to get homeless again? Oh my goodness, I don't think so. I actually think if they do put me out on the street, I'll be back living in there the same night. You know, I might get arrested for breaking and entry or something like that, but hey, we'll be the first one in jail.
Well, so, so this is one of the first times we're planning an eviction blockade for a demand like this. And in the past, we've really only had eviction blockades where somebody can pay what they call market rent, or what was the rent previously, or if they could buy their house back. And it signals a really big shift for the organization. And particularly we're demanding this from Fannie Mae, which is part of the federal government. And that shift kind of really came in as our members established a vision that really embraced that we believe housing is a human right. So if the panelists could briefly talk about kind of why that shift, why did we move from let's defend home ownership, let's defend the right to pay rent, to let's fight more broadly for the human right to housing.
I believe that we took and broadened it because it's more, there's more to the picture than just myself. You know, and there's a lot of avenues that need to be addressed. That's why we leave it open so that we can take and use those little beans we got up here and put them to work, you know, and see what we can come up with to change policies and make things better for all of us. You know, because we're not the ones who sit here, we're not the only ones who are facing this. There's people facing this worldwide, and it's such a devastation that I believe myself, in the next 4 years, there'll be at least another 300,000 people homeless in the street because the banks and the courts not working in favor for the people. That's what the courts are there for. They're supposed to help us, but they're not.
I just want to say too that for the banks, what was the person?
So we've made this shift, right? Where we used to only really be willing to say, like, let me pay a mortgage, let me pay rent. And now we're saying, let me pay an affordable rent, right? Turn this into a property that, yeah, we're asking you to subsidize because Jeff's on a fixed income, right? So why did we make that shift? What like forced us to make that shift?
Yeah, because as Jeff just said, well, this is a broader picture too. But then I think that a home is a right, just like you breathe, you eat. It's a right, and if one person can have so much, and then there's this person in need, it's just morally right that we learn to at least make sure that our rights are preserved. It's just human, and I guess they're not human. That's my opinion.
So I'm gonna. You want to answer it quickly? Okay.
The other point is, in Springfield alone, there are more empty homes than homeless people. And that's not right. And why should these be homes? Why couldn't they be affordable housing where they're maintained? Because these houses are not maintained. Believe me, I don't think we have any pictures right now, but there are homes with grass over 2 feet tall, boarded up, burned down, all because they were abandoned. They were abandoned because the banks abandoned them. We had to get out, but the banks did nothing with them. So in that particular avenue, this started getting people angry too, because across the nation that's true. There are more empty homes in this nation than there are homeless people in this nation. That is one of the things that spurred us to start thinking, well, that's not right. There's just no reason it should be like that. So it's just one of the ways that why not affordable housing?
Thank you, everyone. So we're planning the largest eviction blockade that we have had to date in preparation for a possible eviction of Jeff, because this is the hardest demand we've had to fight for to date. And I want to quickly invite Flora back in, because Flora is one of many people who is prepared to risk arrest.
I'm willing to go to jail for my brothers. I'm willing to go to jail, go anywhere I have to go.
Yeah, and so Flora, could you just talk briefly, like, why are you ready to go to jail? What made you move to that?
So when I seen the option, when they tried to auction my house, I saw that in 5 seconds. All my brothers and sisters were there to help me out. If it wasn't for this blockade, my house, who knows who would have bought it, because I got my house nice. I got a jacuzzi, I got my backyard real fixed. No, anybody would have bought my house quick. Thank God to these guys, they blocked it. And I'm ready to go to jail for his house, your house, anybody's house. Because I know what it is to struggle and not sleep, not eat for 4 years. I got some sleep. I had a dream last night. I haven't had a dream in 4 years because I haven't been sleeping. Now I can sleep because I got my house back, my brother's safe. So I'm willing to go to jail anytime. 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. They gotta pull me on my job because I work 2 jobs, but I'll come out. Jeff, I'm willing to fight for you anytime, anybody here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we're going to turn over to Q&A in just 1 second. We want to close with asking for anybody on the panel, and our sister Camila is also here and is going to add one quick thing. But what can folks in this room do to support this movement?
Folks can actually come out. Don't let anybody tell you that you don't stand for nothing, because if you don't stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. But so you need to definitely step up. You know, you are somebody, and I encourage you to take in. Education is very important here, and just a little small illustration right quick. If this college was your house, and you guys couldn't come up with the rent, they would throw you out. Right? You know, we definitely need support. You can't let somebody tell you how you're going to live. You are not slaves. This is the United States. We are a free people. And if you don't believe that, then you need to do some research. Because last time I knew we were free.
And my quick thing is that first, I was kind of shy to go out and speak. And, you know, I don't want it like my coworkers, I work with the city of Springfield, to see me, or my boss to see me, you know, holding a banner and, you know, walking around chanting. And, you know, but when I went the first time, I felt so empowered. I mean, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would go anywhere because I realized there's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, you're taking up for your right. You're speaking for your own right. And if everybody speak up, I mean, if you're going to shy from it and be ashamed, I mean, we'll get nowhere. But somebody got to speak up. So I felt so empowered and I felt energized. And I felt like, you know what, I got this now. I will go and I will speak and I will tell you that if you're a bank, you're a thief and you're stealing from people and it's not necessary.
And the truth is, I see future leaders here. That's why you're here today. Because you were empowered in some way to come, to learn, to see how you could actually step up and make a difference in the world. And you're here today to do that, you know? And I'd like to see you at the blockade, if we have to do this right away. You know, keep in touch with us, and we'll definitely notify you right away. But have no fear. If you can't speak for yourself, we'll speak for you.
Definitely.
And I got no problem with speaking.
We got problem with showing up, only kidding.
I was a lot like Linda when I first started, believe it or not. I wouldn't say anything. I would just sit there and listen. And then, as I got more comfortable, I became more involved. Now you have to shut me up. So I'm sorry. But the other thing that we really do... Yes, that's the guy at 22 News. Anyway, what the other things you guys can do that are practical, besides coming to the blockade, is maybe we were talking about the internships, and maybe this year we don't need as many, but we still need people to help do other things, even if it doesn't count towards your school grades. If you want to come and help us canvassing on Saturday, we actually go knock on doors. That's how most of us got to be here, and say, hey, we saw that your home, that's how Linda found out her home was in foreclosure. So you can do that. It's every other Saturday, so if you could do it once a month, a couple of you, it's always good to have a couple of people. You wouldn't be going out by yourself. You have one of our organizers or someone who's already done it coming with you, and you know the first few times, and then you learn the script and you learn to empathize with the people. It's really heartbreaking to see some of them just sit there and look at you and like, well, we're leaving. Well, you don't have to, and to tell them you don't have to leave. We can help you stay. It's really empowering to everyone, to that family, and you know, to the people that are standing there at the door saying, we really mean this. We can't pay you rent, but we can help you stay. We can get you legal aid. We can get you some advice from other people who really know this situation. So there are many ways that you can help us if you can't do it monetarily, which of course we appreciate, but we understand you are students. But if you could come and give us your time, because we have lots of things to be filed, lots of things to be gone over, and ideas. You guys are young, and I know you guys have great ideas. So don't be afraid to present them to us, because maybe we've never heard them. And if we had, that's fine. We'll learn what we've done with them and how to expand.
And
something for your resume too. Something for your resume, right?
No, that's not him. Yeah, and you know, for us, it's really important that you go to CPSC if you really want to volunteer. If you want to set up some sort of research or internship or whatever it is, I think we've built such a great relationship with CPSC that it'd be really convenient for you anyways, because they do have resources. The Hampshire van, y'all want to come to Springfield? No, I mean the Hampshire van was the best thing ever this summer. I just gotta say. Not Emily, just the Hampshire van. I'm just saying. But if you want to know more about like what an internship looks like, Emily's here. Dylan's around. The other Emily's around.
Our brother Jules's old prints are there. You can see some of the work that he did. They're beautiful.
So we're really open, you know, if you're an artist, if you're an organizer already, or you want to be an organizer, we're really open to working with y'all. But the best way to just start that relationship with us is going to CPSC, and not because we don't want to have direct communication with students, but I think it's one thing that we've noticed is that it's like having CPSC to build that relationship kind of smoothens things a little bit better. And so, yeah.
So we're gonna bring up our sister Camila for one last thing, something that's going on this fall, and Camila is one of our community allies activists that's on our intern board right now, and is working on fundraising work.
We're not technically allowed to talk about fundraising right now. So you weren't supposed to say things that way. But we are here to recruit volunteers, and allyship is really important if it's done in the proper way, in a way that doesn't gentrify the organizing spaces that are made up for the actual community members. And I think that's something that our group takes a lot of pride in, is that we're completely member-led. We're working towards being completely member-led. But we do value allyship when we found a way to carve out a space where a lot of, from students here, people from Amherst, Northampton, in the Hampshire, and in these academic spaces can also be used as for support and the network and the resources that y'all have access to, so that people in Springfield might not have. So we are working on a campaign called Valley Gives. It's for the fall. It will be from now to December 10th. And we are recruiting volunteers for your temporary volunteer. And we would like to meet twice before December 10th. It is a social media massive campaign in which we are trying to reach $10,000. And it is, to clarify, I'm not asking for money now. We're asking for volunteers who can use social media to network and bring in these resources so that we can sustain this movement. So if y'all could come, I'll put it right down here, and y'all can come up and put down your names if you're willing to do, if you get familiar with Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube accounts, Twitter.
I'm the chief master of that.
Like our sister Flora calls it, so we would really appreciate that. Also to clarify, if you're putting down your name on the sign-up sheet, maybe to put a star if you are willing to risk arrest for our next eviction blockade. The suggestions.
You want to get arrested?
So, yeah. So here.
We need all the help we can get.
Or one thing that you should know, in the state of Massachusetts, Jeff being a former homeowner, if he is evicted from his home, he's not eligible for shelter. He can't go to a shelter until he can prove he's living out of a vehicle or something that's not. All of us former homeowners are not covered under any type of shelter.
No projects.
It was
no
a law that was passed 2 years ago that states that the banks further punish the former homeowners. So it's another reason, another injustice. And the more the banks push back on us, the more we push back on them with our demands as far as going for affordable housing and everything else. And get the
So
government.
I want to open the floor for questions, and some question and answer and some discussion, some back and forth. So you just want to throw your hand in the air, your fist in the air if you have a question or a comment you would like to make. Yeah.
I'm curious to know if y'all have collaborated at all with any folks from Holyoke or other areas around Springfield.
I'm from Chicopee.
Oh,
One
also.
of our members is from Holyoke. Two of our members are from Holyoke. We have several we have Ware, Palmer, Westfield, Agawam, Holyoke, Chicopee, Springfield.
We're just called Springfield NoOneLeaves, but the organization is open to anybody who's in any type of foreclosure or housing crisis.
And we don't have canvassers in other cities because we don't have enough canvassers.
Yeah.
Just another point, we always can use people.
Anyone else? You can use a mic or you can stand.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I guess I'm kind of wondering what makes a successful eviction block? Like, and what case, I mean, I'm sure it's really specific in case by case, but how do you win back some houses and are not able to others? Is it just dependent on if the bank is willing or not, or is there like specific?
Well, it depends on who ends up, like in the auction, on who ends up buying the house. Like we had one member that her house wasn't bought back by the bank, it was bought back by an investor. And we hounded this investor so bad that he basically showed up in court and said, here's your house, just here. So it really depends on whether it's Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Right now, they make you sign a piece of paper. If you want to buy my house, you have to promise that you won't sell it back to me or any single one of my relatives. Which is kind of funny because the Fannie and Freddie are owned by all of those taxpayers. They're 80% owned by the taxpayers. Now they've wasted over $60,000 trying to foreclose on my house, evict me and my children from the house. And right now they could be making money by me paying rent. They won't even accept my money. So for every single individual case, it's different whether the bank's willing to work with you or whether they're not. We have cases where Bank of America has come around. There's been cases with different banks that are offering up rental. So it really depends on which bank you're fighting and how much pressure we can put on them.
And how the house look too.
Yeah, and I think that last point about how much pressure we can put politically is really critical. And, you know, and being able to mount a campaign that escalates is important, right? And so the eviction blockade is the last fight, right? But there's lots of fights that go into, there's a escalation plan. And so Sue was talking about vigils and public letters and actions at banks. A lot of the victories we've won have been when we've grouped families together and targeted banks collectively. So we got 4 out of 5 Bank of America families won agreements after a big round of actions against Bank of America. And I think like 7 out of 11 Wells Fargo families were able to strike some sort of agreement after we targeted them directly. And so there are different ways that we fight. 3 of the 4 eviction blockades we've held were effective. This last one was pretty exceptional. And I think you heard that in the video. Wells Fargo took this really intense stance that they swore they were going to negotiate after they evicted. They haven't, which we knew would happen. But they really kind of undercut, they made it clear that they weren't evicting. And so, but as Roberto said before, you know, we only do an eviction blockade if we think it's going to be worthwhile, whether we win or lose. And the type of energy and the type of transformation that's come out of that, as folks were touching on before, has actually moved the movement to another level, right? Whether it's that Flora's now willing to risk arrest or Jeff's talking about moving back into a house, those are things that weren't being talked about before, right? And so it pushes the movement to another level, even when we, you know, lose the elected.
If you want to see an example of blockade that actually works, on that top over there, there's a picture on the top of our sheet of paper. Yes, and that is one of our blockades, and that worked. They bought their home back. It took a while, but they got their home back. Not that one, the little tiny one. The little one. No, no, one more, Flora, one more. Not the blankets, but this one. Not the blankets, one in your hand. No, not the blankets. This one? Oh. So the picture at the top of that page is a blockade that we did. It was one of our first ones. And just so you can see the number of people, there were 125 people in this picture. It was a vigil, but
they were facing eviction.
They were facing eviction, and we got the banks to negotiate. The other one, we had 2 different blockades about the same home, and both times they backed away. It was really kind of nice to see the cops get in the cars and the trucks and go away. But I think we talked to everybody.
But we also had a lot of political presence for those.
Yeah.
For the Mendez and for
Any other questions, comments, thoughts?
Well, I'm a Springfield native, and I'm familiar with the Rise for Social Justice, and I was just wondering how involved you guys are with them, because I saw Frank was on there, and that's one of my good friends.
Yeah.
So.
Does anybody want to comment on?
Well, with the Rise, Michael Ann and Ellen and all them, we're close. I go, as a matter of fact, I'm hanging out with them Sunday. You know, but yeah, I go to all actions with them when I can, you know, and we're like brother and sister, you know, organizations, and we look out for each other and we back each other up.
Okay.
That's the good thing about it.
What else? Thank you for the question.
I got a question for you guys. Are any of you guys pet lovers?
You can keep a pet in your dog.
Because if I become homeless, I got 2 cats that are going to be homeless with me. My cats, my animals talk to me. You might think I'm crazy, but they talk to me. One of my cats only got 3 legs because her foot got actually closing the door. They wanted to put her to sleep. I had to tell the vet, if you put her to sleep, I have to put you to sleep. And they told me, well, we got an alternative. We'll send her to another place that they had to amputate her leg. But I'd rather have the cat alive than dead. I'm a pet lover to the heart. Like I said, my animals, they talk to me. They really do talk to me. If I'm eating, they just get up there.
I think I saw a couple of hands afterwards. Any other questions? We're going to stick around for a little while too, and we can kind of keep building, but are there any last questions before we close the panel? Or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
One more thing I want to say to them. I don't go to church that often, but you know, I do believe in God, and He says to me, treat others as you want to be treated. Do you think the banks are treating us that way?
No.
Okay, well,
We're going to close out with what we call the solidarity class. Encourage folks to kind of stick around, engage.